everyone, I'm Sonia Showalter. The way I've been doing these videos is just simply do it. I think I gathered all my supplies, but if I didn't, I'll cut those pieces out so you're not sitting here staring at the table. Well, first I want to show you the actual packaging once it's finished. Now this is, and I'll describe it so you'll know pretty much what I had done. So this is cheesecloth, and this down here is just plain white cheesecloth from the grocery store. It's food grade, you know, I don't know if there's another kind of cheesecloth, but that's what the fabric is. But of course you can't use it like this. This is too flimsy, the weave is really loose, and okay. But once I'm done with it, this is what it turns into. And what I'm doing is brushing glue on it. And I'll show you the whole process. So here it is. This is how it dries. The inside is shiny because it's sitting against this plastic sheet right here. I have some a silicone mat underneath because this is really where I have my pretty linens and things. So I actually invested in this large silicone mat so that I can protect my fabric underneath. Although I have more of that, but I don't want to have to be throwing away my fabric or having to cut new pieces every time I do a project. So I'm just protecting things. This is my fresh rosemary, but I knew it would dry pretty. It represents the pine needles, you know, but it smells good. And sticking with the Christmas theme, but you can do dried flowers or something else if you want. This is a wax seal, and I'm gonna show you all of this later. And then the inside, of course, you have your gift. And I just pulled the little, it's just a thread, it's embroidery thread for hanging. I just flipped it to the back and slid it inside. This is just cardstock that I tore off using a ruler. I just placed the ruler down and tore it off because I wanted it to look like this, a little bit rustic, almost like handmade paper. And I just thought that would be pretty, but you can use whatever you want. This ruler is 5 inches. Yes, it's 5 inches, and then it happens to be folded at about 5 inches. But it's folded over and stitched on a regular sewing machine. And on one of the little bags, you know, I'm experimenting as I go. So on one of these, I did a longer stitch, like a 4 millimeter. I think that's the measurement, which is like a basting stitch. And then on the next one, I think it was this one, I forgot to lengthen the stitch. So it's like 2 millimeter stitches. So it doesn't matter. And that's all there is to that. So I'm going to show you, demonstrate the process. Okay, so I have a piece of just scrap plastic from somewhere, packaging or something. You can get just any plastic, and it's just depends on how big you want to. I'm gonna check my phone because I never know if it's an emergency. Be right back. All right, never mind, my phone is recording, so I was gonna check on the computer, but my app is closed because I get my messages on the computer as well, and it's closed, and it's like okay. They'll call me if it's an emergency, I think. All right, so depending on what size piece you want to work on, of course, you want to make sure your plastic is bigger than that. Now, I don't know if you can see, but I actually drew my Sharpies are kind of past their prime, so I was struggling to make some of these lines show up. But I wanted to make sure I stayed within these boundaries, so I drew some lines that corresponded with the size gauze that I wanted. And I thought if I can do a piece that will provide 2 or 3 pouches because when I cut them 5 inches, you know, 5, 5, and 5, I might be able to get 3 pouches. This is 17. I did a 17-inch margin here so that I can get an entire pouch, because 5 and 5 for the pocket, and then whatever I need to fold over. So it's a little extra. I want wiggle room. So, you know, it's not exact, and you can just make one if you want to, and just measure, make sure you're allowing yourself a couple of inches in each direction so you have enough to play with, to wiggle room to work with. Plus, the reason I also wanted to make the outlines of more or less where my gauze is, or I keep calling it gauze, I think that's what I've been doing, my cheesecloth is going to go, is because the first time I did it, I had a really big piece of plastic, and it was like, I don't know where to stop putting glue, because you have to put glue down first. So it's a lesson that I learned as I did my first batch, that I need to give myself some guides so I know I'm not overdoing it and I'm not coming up short on the edges. Okay, so here's the formula for the glue mixture. So the white glue, it's just simple white glue. You see, I'll link it below. This is just plain white glue, and I got it from Amazon. It's their brand. It was a gallon because I thought, you know, I may be doing this often. So, or once in a while. I didn't want to start buying small bottles. So 1 gallon was fine. At least I'm set for the near future. I used a jar of pickles, an empty jar of empty, of course. It's a 32-ounce jar. That's what I was looking for. Got distracted there. And this is the formula, and I did this so that I marked it just so if I ever use this all up and I want to make another batch, I don't have to measure it again. But each one of these lines represents one of these. Okay, so it's 2 parts glue to 1 part water. So 2 of these is glue, 1 of these is water. However, I didn't put in the entire cup when I went to add this, because I thought, you know, what if it's too watery? I can't take the water out. And so I just added, I think it was about this much of my water, and I never did add any more. So you might want to be conservative with your water and then add more if you feel like you need to add more. But that worked out well, even though the formula is normally two of these to 1 part water. But just, you know, don't dump all the water in at once, because you might wish you hadn't done that. And then I wouldn't have had enough room to add more glue after I completed this. So there's just a couple of tips there for you. And the reason I'm showing you this is because these are cheap, and I don't have to wash it when I'm done, and I don't have to use my measuring cups in the kitchen, even though this white glue is non-toxic. These are the 10-ounce plastic cups you get just about anywhere, party cups. Okay, so this is mixed. Oh, yes, the water that I added was actually a really high concentration of black tea, the tea you drink. So I put the color in, or I brewed the tea really, really dark, really strong. And I kind of wish I had gotten it darker. So that's totally up to you. You can use green tea if you want it to have a green tint, or green and black, or use paints, acrylic paints, in your water to get it the color you would like. So that's all I'm saying. And if you don't want any color, maybe you want it white for a wedding gift or something, you know, pretty wedding card or whatever, then don't use anything with the glue other than the water to mix it up. Okay, so that's my preparation information. Okay, so I have this. I made this much because I didn't want to have to mix it up every time I went to do this. So here's what you need to do. This is just an old brush I have had, and when I washed it, I actually rinsed it in, or I soaked it in one of these cups with water and vinegar, because vinegar will break down the glue. And I just didn't want this to be, even though it's an old brush, I don't want to have to find a new brush every time because it got stiff from the glue. But it seemed to have washed up pretty well. And I didn't dump that water. I rinsed it really good. I dumped this water outside in a corner of the flower garden. That way you're not dumping this glue down your sink. I think that's important to maybe think about. Okay, so here's how you lay this down. All right, so just start brushing it on the plastic. And now that I know where my margins are, it'll be easier to place my cheesecloth down because this is almost invisible. Hopefully you can see enough, to get the idea. I could have done this directly on the silicone sheet. I thought about doing that, but I decided I didn't want to bother with picking it up and washing it. So if I get some on there, I can scrape it off, but why make more work for myself? So I'm using a nice big brush because I don't want to be here all day with a 1-inch brush. And these are really inexpensive brushes. Or you can use the sponges, the sponge brushes, those black ones. And then you can just more or less disposable. I even thought about using maybe some of those makeup brushes, the ones that are kind of like a wedge. I don't know how much they are, but if they're cheap enough, heck, that way I don't have to wash a brush. It's all about saving time for me. Time is my currency. I only have so much time each day. And when I'm out, I'm out. And then I have to wait till the next day because unfortunately, my body demands that I lay down after I've been up I wake up at 5 in the morning. Every morning. I still wake up to Gary's alarm. We both love to wake up early and just do stuff from the laptop or watch the news together. And I would usually do my marketing. That's why I post things pretty early in the morning. And, that's when I'm doing all that laptop stuff. Okay. All right. Silicone mat is a nice perimeter so that I don't have any little unhappy accidents. All right, here's the tricky part. If you have another set of hands, that would be helpful actually, because then you have each corner up in the air and you can, because once this is down, it's hard to move it. So I'm going to try and get it over the edge over there. I can adjust the corners because I want to make sure I reach the edges, because otherwise see this cutting across the corner? I don't want this to cause me to have to cut that off and throw it away because I can't get a whole rectangle out of that. So just push it as needed. And it's okay if it's not flat and perfect, because this project is like, I don't know, there's part of the charm is that it's not perfect. It looks like it's been through wear and tear maybe. It looks old, it looks like it's been around for a while, and that's part of the charm of it, I think. It's hard to know. You can't identify. Why does this look like this? But I love it. What is it about it? I love it. Okay, so I cut this a little long. Maybe Let me see if I can pull it. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. I might just go ahead and cut it some more. I was making sure I had wiggle room, and I've got more than plenty of wiggle room. I don't want to cut it with scissors right now because there's a little bit of glue on the edges. All right, and there's no glue under here, which is okay, as long as you have everything covered that you're gonna be cutting. But let me show you this and explain this part. So this part, what you want is one edge. I think on this one, I'm gonna do this edge up here. I'll show you how to do it, but you'll want probably an edge like this because I really like that. In fact, I wanted to do this all the way around, but if you have a template underneath and you want to work this into a template, that the shape and everything, that would be so pretty. But I'll show you how to do it. I just didn't take the time to do that, but it's very doable. So here's what you do. So you want to, let's see, where do I want this glue? Okay. You'll want to, see there, this, I want to make sure there's glue underneath because I want to make sure this edge gets enough. The other edge is okay if I'm short because that's going to end up getting cut. So let's say this is going to be the top, or I should say the top of the pouch right here. So we want one edge to look like that. And I'm gonna, these threads are tucked under, so I'm gonna make sure they're out and flat. But even if you have little, okay, my plastic is shifting. I was gonna tape down the edges, but I knew they wouldn't stick, but I tried anyway. Silicone, it just doesn't allow things to stick to it. All right. Make sure these threads are nice and coated. Just put a little more there so it'll stick. Hold my plastic. It's okay if your edges are kind of going everywhere. For right now, let's just get some glue on here. If you were doing this on your kitchen island or something, you could tape those down. It does make it easier. And I may speed up the video at this point so that you don't have to sit here and watch me do this for the next 5 minutes. And I'm trying to keep it as squared as I can. It's not going to be perfect, but if you're able to use the edge, great. If not, just cut it. You know, cut it to the size you need. But I am well within my bounds here. There's a, I don't know if you can see my Sharpie underneath. And I'm well above it here, so I've got plenty for my project. Let me show you how to do those edges, the scrunched up edges. So when I was doing this with the original project, I was just kind of experimenting, and so some of my edges were really off. They weren't very squared. So if you wanted to, you could be really a little more meticulous about making sure your edge is that's squared up with the side edges. That way you can use this top edge for the top of the pouch. But if you don't want it that way, that's fine too. And the thing about this project is that I haven't experimented yet, but I would like to add some like dried herbs and things. I just didn't want to get my glue full of crumbs and things, so I just hadn't done it. But that will be another experiment, and maybe I can show you how to do that. So I think this is pretty squared and charmingly not totally squared. So I think all this edge will be usable. You just don't want it to be start here and end down here somewhere. Then it's all going to be skewed. And this is more than I need, but I can see my line here. Well, I might as well make it straight. Because what if I decide, hey, I could use this for another gift that I've got in mind, and it's a little bit bigger, and I may need to, this would be cool. It's not just for the projects, the objects that I am suggesting. It could be a really cute way to just gift anything, as long as it fits, you know. Okay, that's all there is to it. Now, if you wanted to, you could add like drop a little bit of darker paint. I kind of wish there was more mottled, M-O, I think T-T-L-E. But I just didn't do it. Let me see if I can grab some paint and give you an idea. All right, I had this handy because I was using it for something else. I think this is the color I was using. It's called Asphaltum from Folk Art. It doesn't matter what kind of paints you have. If you have tube paints or whatever. If you have tube paints, you know, like a paste, the acrylics, I would put a little bit of water, pick it up with a brush and sprinkle it on. Let me see. Let me see what comes out of here. I haven't painted in a while, so I can't remember what I was using this for. Let me see. I'm a little bit nervous. Nothing's, oh, there it goes. Oh, okay. It's a little bit watered down because it hasn't been mixed, but heck, why not? Let's just see. Get a little bit of drops on there. I don't want to get too excited with this because I've got my other fabrics that are real fabrics. I don't want to. So you get the idea. So let's see. Let's say that's a little bit harsh, or two. There. Just kind of spread them out a little bit. And it doesn't have to be brown. You could use pink or just whatever. Just enough. On this one, it's just enough to make it look like something. It got stained somewhere years ago. Years ago, it was stained with something. We don't know what. There, it's just a thought, some ideas. And if you had dried flower petals, maybe press them and then just lay them down and work them in with the glue. Just really, there's no limit to what you can do. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry and then we'll see what happens when it's all done.
Many days later.
All right, I'm back, everyone. I took this outside so it would dry faster. I didn't actually get back to it until today, and I'm just right now, I think the roofers are taking a lunch break, but man, I almost started recording earlier today, but the pounding was so much louder than I thought it was going to get. So I thought, yeah, there's no way. So I think they're on everything's quiet. Their trucks and everything's still here, so I'm sure they're coming back. It's just that I think they're taking a break. So I'm going to see what I can do in the meantime. Okay, so here's what I wanted to show you. Now this did dry more wrinkly than than my original piece that had a nice flat piece of plastic. So just be aware, if your plastic is all crinkled or wrinkled, it's going to do this. I'm going to see if ironing, everything's an experiment, okay? So I'm going to see if I can actually iron it. I'm not sure I'm crazy about all the crinkling, but it's not, it's an easy solution to just make sure your plastic is nice and smooth. Okay, so here's what it looks like. It's all dry. All right, and it's still stuck to the plastic. And all you need to do, make sure I'm in view here for you to see. All you have to do is peel this off. Okay, and there's going to be a little bit of glue skin on the edge, if you can see that. Okay, and that just tears off. Or you can just take some of your, paper scissors and just trim it off. And really the only place I'm concerned about this is here, because this is the top of the front edge of the envelope. All right, and this is where the flap comes over the top, because I think this is really pretty and unique. So you don't have just a flat edge at the very top, but you can do it any way you want, of course. Anyway, so I would just trim that off instead of fighting it with my fingers and trying to grab it like that. And then just go ahead and peel this off. I'm not sure I would reuse this because of this. I don't know. It might start to peel off and make a mess on your floor or counters, whatever. This plastic was free. It was from a bag. I think it was a pillowcase I bought. So just save those large pieces of plastic. So, oh no, look at that. It transferred. Okay, like I said, this is an experiment. So it did transfer to my fabric. Not cool. Not cool, Sharpie. It came right off of my plastic. Oh, bummer. Bummer. I think I can work in between these two lines though to salvage so that I can get 5 inches wide for my little envelope. And then this can be used for something smaller. I'm not sure if this is 5 inches. I'm going to grab a measuring tool. I didn't want my big giant ruler over here, so let's see. It's right at 4 inches right there. And this is right between the 5-inch mark. And this is right between, yeah, there's 5 inches, and just cut off the edge. So, note to self, lesson learned. So next time, what I will do is mark the plastic, but then flip it over so that the marker will be on the outside, okay? So, and better yet, oh, actually that would work fine, because you want to make a big piece and then cut your pieces out of there, not just do, 5-inch strips by 15 inches or whatever the length is. Let me see if this will clear top to bottom, if it's going to be enough. Oh yeah, there's plenty. I just needed at least 15.5 inches. Once you fold it and then do the little flap over the front envelope closure, it's like maybe 15.5 inches. So at this point, what you would do is cut off 5 inches. Just use your ruler and a rotary cutter, or use scissors. And I think what I'm gonna do, I don't know that you need a pattern, but I think it would make it a little bit easier to have a little paper pattern. Just lay it here and just cut with scissors. So I'm going to provide you with an actual pattern you can print if you so choose to use it. I think it would make it a little bit easier, especially the envelope flap, because who wants to measure exactly, find the center and all that? Shoot, just have a little pattern there. You could just cut your strip the way you want, and then use the top of the pattern for the angle cut. And I think it'll be useful at least for that.
More days later.
All right, everyone. I don't remember where I left off. I had to do this in segments because we have roofers here replacing the roof after Hurricane Beryl. They're just now able to get to my house, and it got so loud. I did a segment between on their lunch hour the other day, a couple of days ago, and I'm trying to remember where I left off. So I'm going to repeat a little bit. I'll cut it out if I've already said all this. So here's how it dried. And I think I did do this part. It looks like burlap, but not so chunky, okay? And I had expressed that I didn't care for the wrinkly, the plastic was wrinkled, and that's the way it dried. So I actually did, which was another experiment, I actually pressed it with an iron, but I did use a thin piece of cotton fabric, very thin, like lawn. I swear that sounded like one of my doors. I get spooked by myself. Okay. Oh, it might have been upstate, up on the roof. Some of the noises, it sounds like they're coming from inside the house. It kind of creeps me out. Although these are good people that are here, but still, I'm here alone, and you know, it's just the way it is. Okay, so I actually I put something down over here. I can't remember what. I think I put this directly down on a wooden board, and I put a cotton cloth, a pressing cloth over the top of this. Actually, it was just a scrap piece of lawn, which is very thin cotton. I knew I would never use that again because some of this yellowed on the, caused the fabric to yellow a little bit because I pressed it pretty hard. And I actually, more experimenting, I actually misted the rough side of this just very lightly because it wasn't really doing anything. And then I pressed it with a hot iron on top of that pressing cloth. And that seemed to have smashed down the wrinkles, so they're now flat instead of, you know, wavy like the ocean. So I like it much better that way. So next time I'm just going to make sure the plastic I use for the glue phase is just a smooth piece of plastic and not have wrinkles in it that I don't want to be permanent in my finished fabric. All right, so here's what I've been working on for the last couple of days for this project. A pattern. I think I mentioned it in the previous section that I was going to try and get a pattern done. Okay, so this is what I came up with, and it's pretty clear, I think. So here's how it would work. So I'm going to avoid these marks that seem to be permanent at this point, because the Sharpie transferred from the plastic onto my glue, so remember to not do that. I'm going to cut the pattern out, and these are my paper scissors that have seen a lot of use over the years, over the decades actually. So here's what you'll end up with. So remember, don't put this at the bottom edge like this. Okay, this is the front edge right there, like that. And I'm going to work on the inside of these Sharpie lines. You can see it. So I don't want any of that left on my little gift bag. So just stick the pattern down in here until and adjust the fabric. Can you hear the guys just having a great time up there on the roof? That is a scary steep roof, but I think they're fearless at this point. They probably do those every day. So, and one thing to know is this is not going to be perfect across, okay? So don't worry about it, because my original ones were not perfect, and I'm trying to find a happy medium so I can bring it over a little. So I'm not trying to match this right edge together, because these aren't perfect either. This is not squared. So this is a very fluid design, because we're just kind of working with fluid lines. They're not very perfect lines. They're not perfect, period. So we just get it set up so that the weave on this, the weave is just kind of all over the place, but we still don't want to, you know, do something crooked, like so crooked that it just bothers you to look at it. So, but the lines, there's a happy medium in there. And we'll move it over just a little because I can see this. Okay. And there's the edge of that one, so it's like perfect in between those Sharpie marks. And then all you do is go ahead and cut through both layers right here, and then follow the outline. Remember, none of this is like making a custom suit or anything. I used to do custom clothing, custom wedding gowns actually. They'd bring me a picture and I'd recreate it. Picture of a celebrity or somebody. Can you make me this dress? I did that Demi Moore dress that she wore in Indecent Proposal. That black dress, evening dress. I did that for someone. That was craziness that I would do all that, but I did it. At the time, it was earning me a little bit of money. Okay, that's it. Then you would take this over to sewing machine and stitch scant 1/4 inch or 1/4 inch. That's where my guide is on the foot. That's just easy for me to do it quickly. So I'm going to take that over there and I'll bring it right back. Okay, here it is all stitched. So I'm going to trim my little threads. There, I think they just moved overhead over here. Suddenly it's very loud, so, but hopefully you can still hear me, because I have to get this done or I'm never going to get it done. And you'll still be waiting on me. You've been so patient. Okay, oops, one more. That's how it looks. So now let me show you how we do the decorative side of this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, there's no right or wrong way to do this, just a logical order. So I'm not gonna put the wax seal directly on here. I'm gonna create the wax seal here, and then we'll add it on there with some glue, Fabri-Tac glue, or a little bit of the wax. I think I might use Fabri-Tac glue this time. So what I'm gonna do, I already picked my fresh rosemary. It smells so good. Okay, so there's my fresh rosemary. So I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and create the seal, And then we can glue the rosemary to here, and at the same time we can attach the seal right here with the glue. If the glue doesn't work, then we'll use some of the wax and just add it with the wax. So let's see what happens here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make a seal. So I've got some ice here. I need to get this nice and cold because I don't want to have to guess at when it's safe to remove the seal from the wax. So that's ready, actually. It only takes a few seconds. Okay, so I'm going to pull this glue gun over here. All right, I'm trying not to get a whole bunch of stuff on my silicone mat, but I think it's going to be very good for hot stuff, but I don't want to get stains all over it. So I think what I'm going to do is slide this piece of wood over here and just do it with the wood underneath. I don't know. I don't want to test my mat right now. Not while it's still new. I think you can see. Okay, so I'm gonna, the seal is about this big around. So I'm just gonna try and get something close to that. Doesn't have to be bigger because once you press it, it squishes that around the edges. The problem I was having is I wasn't putting enough wax, a big enough perimeter, and so it was tending to go sideways on me. Oh, I'm gonna have to add another stick. But it's all a learning curve. I was picking a color. I think I'm gonna go with this. It's not bright red, but it's kind of a copper red. That's all right, I like it. I have another gold, but I want to try other colors and I don't want to waste what's in there. So, okay, I don't know if that's going to work, but we'll see because it's already been sitting there a few seconds. So that new color isn't going to come through until a couple of more seals are done, or a few more seals are done. I'm going to dry this on my t-shirt. Okay. Try and center it. I don't know why it tends to float to one side and I just can't help myself but fight it. I can't fight it, it seems like. Okay, there it is. I can make a couple more just because I can. I'm going to put this back in the ice. So if you're doing it this way, you might want to make a few, you know, do all the colors. But if you have other designs you want to do, not just the rosemary sprig, then you might not. Or if you have the seals handy, just do them all at once. Okay, I'm going to get down low so I can see what I'm doing and center it better. And done. Ah! There we go. So that's what's so nice about putting it on ice, so that I'm going to wait till this cools a little longer. I think it's stuck to the wood. Oh, there. I don't think it'll stick permanently because it's wax, so you can scrape it up somehow, but I'm just pulling gently on the tissue. There. See? A little tiny bit of it went through, which is what was causing it to grab. But they still feel hot. I can feel it on my fingers. So I'm not going to remove the paper just yet. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. And I'm going to unplug it. I have a fear of forgetting to unplug things like this. All right, and I had it in a mug before, which is pretty typical, but my wax was oozing out when I wasn't using it. It's like, I might just get a bigger board to be safer. But it's right here on top of the silicone mat, so I think it's fine. It's unplugged and it's not going to go anywhere. So it's It can just sit there while it cools. But yeah, I didn't want to put it in the mug and lose all my wax while I'm doing other things. Oh, I didn't, shoot. I don't want this to curl on me. I should have left it on the little wood thing and just let it cool right there. But it's okay. It's okay. It's not a big deal. All right. I don't want to push down on it from the top. Let me see. I don't know why it's kind of curling. I think I just messed with it too much, and I messed the tissue up. So, but there's no right or wrong way. It's going to be beautiful. Beautiful, no matter what. Okay, while that's cooling, I'm going to go ahead and put these on here with Fabri-Tac. And since I unplugged the glue gun, we'll use Fabri-Tac for these as well. So, oh, I keep forgetting my nozzle is a mess, so I have to open the whole thing. And this time I'm going to go ahead and pour some out. Just pour it out. There we go. A little more. There. Oh, that's like way too much, but we will play with that. We'll make it work. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and dip these. Try not to get too messy. Okay. And you want to be up from the corner a little bit so you make room for the seal. Well, maybe not quite too high. That way the seal kind of covers that corner. All right. Let's grab a seal. I'm going to go ahead and get the bigger one. So I'm just going to peel this off so we don't have paper sticking out the edges. Still kind of flexible. Eventually it does get, it gets kind of hard, but it still stays flexible. It's wax, okay? Like a hard candle. Still flexible, but. All right, so maybe we'll put it like that. So I'll just go ahead and maybe I'll pick some up with my finger. And I'll pick up a kind of generous little glob so it can reach down where it needs to attach. So hopefully it'll reach the fabric. And this is why I have it open, because I don't want to get any glue through the fibers and onto the envelope where it becomes stuck. Let me see if that attached nicely. Yes, it did. There. Okay. We'll give it a minute. Maybe not even a minute. It'll be ready. Okay, and I have a different design to stick in here to give you more ideas. So I'm gonna pull some of this off so I can throw away the extra tissue. And when I get ready to use that, I'll clean it off a little better. All right. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's see if this is sticking. It's gonna hold. Yeah, it's kind of a thick glob, so it's gonna be a little bit soft, but it's holding. So, okay, we'll do it like that. We will, let me show you what I've got. I just tore this with a ruler. This is just plain cardstock, white. All right, and I'll just find the prettiest edge. I'll do it this way. Maybe like this. Okay, so here's what I've got. The cardinal ornament. I don't think you've ever seen this like this. This little bird's so many years old, rolling around in the drawer. Look at him. So you stitch two of these, one facing left, one facing right, stick them together. Add a little stick, that's a real stick, to his little toes. And then just slide them into the little pouch. Let's see. Maybe at an angle. Thusly. And then bring that down. And a piece of double-sided sticky tape right here. So it'll stay closed. That's it. That's how you do the little pouch. I hope you like this idea and I hope you try it. It's super simple. If you don't want to do such a big piece of cheesecloth, just do something small enough to do this. And I've got the pattern ready to upload for you, so you don't have to guess. Makes it super, super easy. Thank you for watching. I hope you really, really like this video. If you do, please click like. It's free. Consider it the cost of videos that are fun and hopefully inspiring to take your gift giving up a notch. So thank you for watching, everyone. I will catch you in the next video.